right, we're going to get started. So, our speaker tonight, I know a lot of you know him already, is Bruce Baumann. He is a staple in the Colorado Liberty scene. He's a member of We Are Change, and if I remember correctly, I think he named Anarchapulco. I remember that from a podcast like 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, that's Bruce. So please give it up for Bruce Baumann.
All right. Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming out tonight. I know it's not maybe an easy task to come out to talk about a death of such an amazing human being, but he's such an inspiration for all of us. So I wanted to start out with an inspiring video that Johnny left us with, and Law found this and posted it. So I want to start out with this before we get started.
Hey, what's up, guys? Johnny from We Are Change, Colorado. Hey, just want to let you know that even you can make a difference. Don't be fooled by the immensity of the issues that we face today. You are making a difference by standing up and using your voice.
Yeah. So Johnny has a lot of videos on YouTube where you can find them. And so Johnny Hurley was a leading We Are Change Colorado when I first moved out to Colorado in 2011, and he was just like the most charismatic person. You know, he was able to lead a group of about 50 people every single Monday at these action planning meetings. And so when I first came out to We Are Change Colorado, they were looking to stop water fluoridation in Denver, Colorado. And so that was my like first intro into this activism group in We Are Change Colorado. Now I had background in the 9/11 Truth movement, and so We Are Change comes from the victims' families of 9/11 in New York, and then We Are Change popped up all over the world. Similarly, like Liberty on the Rocks just started in Denver and popped up all over the world. We Are Change started in New York City and then went around the world. Now, when I came out, there was still 11th of the month actions, and we would hang banners about 9/11 Truth and pass out DVDs like Rob had mentioned, and there was so much effort of just awakening the people and handing out these DVDs to strangers and bullhorning out front of the Capitol or out front of the Federal Reserve or different things. And so one of my first big actions, I was like fresh, wet behind the ears still, was when I went with Johnny and a few others to the Denver International Airport, and they did a publicity stunt where they were gonna resist the body scanners and resist the intrusive pat down. And classic Johnny just like moves those gates and just like walks through, and like they got arrested, and I was like standing down, what I didn't know to be, but later found out it was the FBI was like on me and like, yo, give me your ID. And I'm like, you don't need my ID. What am I? I'm not committing a crime. And so I got my like stripes with We Are Change Colorado at that DIA action when they were resisting what the TSA was up to. And so that's when Rob threw me into leadership, and I started writing emails and different things for We Are Change. But Johnny was always at the forefront. I guess when he came to We Are Change Colorado, it was before my time, but he was very much a zeitgeist guy. And how many people know the movie Zeitgeist from back in the day? Yeah, quite a few of us. Good. I was doing my own screenings back in 2009 of Zeitgeist before I moved out here, and so it was like there was a huge bond between us all of like different awakening moments, different films, like the film America Freedom to Fascism was one of our big ones that we handed out a ton of those, and then a lot of those 9/11 films started me with Loose Change and everything. But so some people called Johnny Zeitgeist because he was the Zeitgeist guy, but when he found out about us, it was like, oh my gosh, our people. And that's exactly how I felt when I met We Are Change Colorado. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is my people. I love this crew. And we'd have meetings every Monday night, and we'd have actions like pretty much once a week. So it was like an action planning meeting, and then like let's do something. And so it was really good to see that Colorado was doing something, and there was a lot of action. And after a few years, I think one of our big ones that Johnny and I were huge in being the grassroots activists of getting GMOs labeled. And so like this guy that came up with his ballot initiative to get mushrooms decriminalized, we were doing a ballot initiative to get GMOs, genetically modified organisms, labeled on the food. But like a lot of times what happens with ballot initiatives and things, big money, big ag, Monsanto, big biotech companies came through and bought out the election pretty much. Now what we did was very, very crucial for the consciousness of people didn't even know what GMOs were until that point when we were pushing that ballot initiative. And so at that point, Johnny and I kind of got a little jaded on trying to like vote our freedom into existence. And we, watched a lot of different, Mark Passio's natural law seminar and a lot of different Larkin Rose stuff. And we really became like very much like, no, we're not going to be statists anymore. You know, whether you might use the term anarchist or whatever it was, voluntarist, we chose to just not go that route anymore. And so in 2015, we focused back on to getting water fluoridation stopped in Colorado, and that was one of our big focuses. And so there was just always a constant, a task. And we had a community center for the We Are Change Colorado Community Center for a while, and a lot of people would just come see us, and different people who were coming in town, like Luke Radowski from We Are Change, or Adam Kokesh would stop through, and we even hosted Fritz Springmeier, who wrote the book Bloodlines of Illuminati. That's one of our YouTube videos, and we got a YouTube channel, We Are Change Colorado, WACC TV on YouTube. So check that out. But so I'm just kind of giving you some of the background of kind of We Are Change Colorado and where I met Johnny, where we kind of like aligned. And he was a beatboxer, he was a chef. He was he's just an awesome dude who loved to go hiking and snowshoeing, and just like, the kind of guy who, when one of our friends, was stuck in the hospital, he would like cook them food every single day and bring them food because the hospital food is trash. And so he's just like a kind and caring guy who would just like step up and go above and beyond and just like help people out, and so as we kind of lead into what happened, I just wanted to like really preface like that Johnny was a hero before what happened on that fateful day almost a year ago, June 21st, 2021. He was like a huge leader, and he showed me so much about how to network and organize with so many different people from different facets of life, whether it was like me being a 20-year-old kid, or there was like 70-year-old members of We Are Change Colorado. We'd all get together and talk about these issues, and whether we didn't agree on them. That was some of the best part of We Are Change Colorado, because we'd have people from the left and the right. We'd have people that, whatever walks of life, but we'd all come together and have civil discussion. And at the end of the night, we could end as friends, even if we don't agree, that we'd at least be able to see where each other is at and have a good, really, really, in-depth conversation about whatever topic it was at hand. And so I learned a lot from Johnny and the way he led the group, and kept everybody, like holding down the code of conduct that we had, and just making sure that it wasn't just turning into like a fuck the government fest like it could turn into quite often, because we all are very strongly feeling that. But it's like, okay, but what are we going to do about it? Now, what are we actually going to do? And so there's a lot of focus on just like being the change and not just talking about it, but like walking it. And so we had some community garden projects that were really successful, and we got, offered to come to a couple different festivals and speak and different things and feed the people. And that's where we met Mickey and, different, people in our path that we just like went through just so many different, we'd give out all these DVDs at the People's Fair every year, and we just like show up at all the different protests and just a network and have our little email list and try and just get as many people together to figure out, all right, what are we going to do? Because it's like we can talk about it all day long, but it's like, what are we actually going to do? And so that's one thing I really appreciated about Johnny, that he was just always a go-getter. And in these COVID kind of years, I will say that Johnny was not much about waking people up anymore. He was like, if you haven't figured it out by now, it's time to just find the people who get it and network with those people. And he was getting pretty fired up about networking with militia type of people who were really arming up and getting ready to resist what these coming, tyrannies that we're seeing now. And so, we had reignited We Are Change Colorado, and in 2020, during the midst of the lockdown, we threw an event called Unite the People. And I got called racist for helping throw this event, Unite the People. But it was all about bringing everybody together. It was like we wanted the anti-lockdown people with the Black Lives Matter people, with some Lakota elders, with some people talking about yoga, with some people talking, like we brought it all together and did Unite the People with a bunch of different musicians. And we had a 12-hour program with no permit. We plugged in a $100,000 music system that our buddy offered us, and we did a 12-hour event in downtown Denver with the First Amendment as our permit. And so that was really beautiful. And our friend Ava always tells the story about how Johnny walked her back to her car. Like he was that kind of guy that would like just make sure that like, oh cool, like you're walking back to your car. It was a little shady down there now. And so she always brings that story about how Johnny's that kind of guy that would walk somebody to their car, make sure that they got home safe. And that was just like a constant, protector, and then so as we kind of like moved into this story of what happened 1 year ago or nearly 1 year ago, I just want to like really like drive that in that like, this man was a hero, he was a leader, and he should be here right now, and he was stolen from us. And so as we kind of move in, it just hurts me to, when I saw it I didn't believe it. I called him right away, and I didn't get an answer. And it was really heartbreaking to get a call from one of our old We Are Change friends, Tony Two Cats, who confirmed that it was Johnny. And so what had happened that day is just a weird, just the irony and the weird, crazy elements of what had gone on. But there was an officer who had been messing with the homeless guy, and a week prior to this event, he had really pissed off this guy. And I'm not sure how much I believe of this whole story truly, but he made a manifesto about wanting to go and kill cops. This is this guy, Ronald Troike. And so when he had seen this homeless incident, he was like, I'm going to fucking kill these cops. And so a week later, he came back and he shot one of those cops, Officer Beasley, in the back, and it was awful. And he went and he blasted a bunch of shotgun shells off, trying to draw in more police. And he walked back to his truck, but he didn't see that, no one expected that Johnny fearlessly just ran out of the Army Navy surplus store with another guy in a Hawaiian shirt that no one knows about. And that's curious. But they sprint out of the Army Navy surplus store. One guy goes left, and Johnny goes straight at the guy across the Arvada Town Square, and he hides behind a brick wall. And as that guy comes out with his big AR-15, this is simultaneously while the cops that guy was coming to shoot were watching this happen, and they ID'd the shooter wearing all black with a long gun, black hat, boots. They ID'd him, and they even said in testimony that they were outgunned. I don't exactly know the exact wording, but it was basically that they didn't have big enough firepower to go up against a long gun like that. Yep. Yeah, so these guys are paid to be serving and protecting us. There's 3 of those officers there, and they ID this guy. Johnny runs up, and as that guy comes out, Johnny takes down the shooter, shoots 6 shots, hits 5 times, puts down, yeah, that's right. He puts down the active shooter, which a lot of people said it was a mass shooter and it was going to be all this death, but after coming to find out, it was going to be a hit on those police officers that had roughed up a homeless guy a week prior. Now, what happens next was gray for a while because they withheld the information and they pushed it under so that it didn't catch media attention because it doesn't serve the narrative. The narrative is we have to ban guns, that only the cop, that we should have monopolize all of guns to the police and military, and that none of us should have the right to own guns. So this story didn't go viral like it should have. And, because we heaven forbid we push a narrative where more people feel inclined to be protecting their local communities and not waiting for cops who are scared as their job and sitting there. And so, Johnny didn't hesitate, not even a flinch. If you see the video, he just sprinted over there and immediately drew his weapon and took out the shooter. And then he went out like his training and he grabbed the AR-15, which we questioned. We were like, "What? Did he really grab that?" But that's, we talked to his conceal and carry trainer, and that's what they're trained to do, is to go and grab the weapon and chamber it and take it out. So when that cop opened that door, Johnny was chambering the assault rifle, the AR-15, against his knee with his pistol in his other hand. So it's not menacing. He wasn't menacing at all. And the cop, which I just found out from his sister who's joined us here tonight, Erin Hurley. Thank you for coming out, Erin. I know this is tough to go through again, but Johnny was chambering that weapon, and come to find out, that officer took 11 seconds to decide to shoot Johnny in the back without warning. No words. No freeze, no get down, no don't move, no I'll kill you if you don't move, anything. Just shot him in the back. That was at 1:37 p.m., and Johnny didn't pass away until 2:13. So they let this man, our beloved hero, our brother, they let this man bleed out because they mistook him somehow as a second shooter in this thing. And even though they saw the other guy dead laying over there, they didn't apply pressure to the wounds. They edited the videos. They didn't show those videos for 5 months. And then by the time they finally announced it, it was during the midst of that Kyle Rittenhouse trial that was catching complete viral because it was very much a dividing case. This case with Johnny, no matter who you are on the left or the right or how you thought about vaccines or not, you agreed that Johnny was a hero because everyone knows that he was a hero. There was no debate. Now, this Kyle Rittenhouse thing was very divisive, and so while that was being pushed, they slipped it under that this officer, Craig Brownlow, would not be charged with anything, even because cops have protection that they don't have legally. There's a Tennessee case, I forget the case exactly, but there's a Tennessee case where it proves that they don't have to announce themselves for endangering themselves. And so, you know, in any society in history, you're not supposed to stab someone in the back, shoot someone in the back. That's like dishonorable. In every single walk of life in history, you don't do that. You know, you square up with somebody if you're going to do that. And so this guy is protected. He's still working for the Arvada Police Department. Oh, he's not now.
He has since quit.
Okay, he's since quit.
Sold his house and moved out of state.
Oh, wow. So he has, okay, this is an update that I hadn't gotten. So, which he should. It's just like, get out of here. We don't even want to see you. Like, and so this Craig Brownlow guy, you know, shoots Johnny in the back, and then they let him bleed out, and they hide this video evidence for a while. And so we were so fired up right away, but we wanted to just honor the situation and not just like get out in front and just kind of let the family grieve. And so we didn't do anything. Like I helped put together a memorial. Like I think that happened on was it a Tuesday? And I think we did a memorial, I think on that Friday or Saturday of that weekend, and we had like so many people showed up. I was just shocked at, like, you know, I knew a lot of people would come, but I just didn't know how many random people would show up. There was like hundreds of people in Arvada Square for that memorial. It was breathtaking, and it was amazing, and it was one of my hardest times to MC an event and hold down that role as a master of ceremonies that I've been doing for so many years now. And so it was a tough thing to be able to move on with our friend gone, you know. And it's like we were reigniting We Are Change Colorado and having weekly meetups as the board of 5 of us. Just we're kind of trying to see like what our principles are, what do we want to focus on. Johnny was just avidly like, we need to go out and practice shooting. We need to get more people prepared and armed. And you know, he's right. Like because this, now that we see it, what could have been that day, because Joe Biden had a press conference that day at like 3:00 about banning assault rifles. And so likely a lot of our conspiratorial minds, right, we're 9/11 truthers and we're calling out everything. We're like, wait a minute, hold on. Johnny's a wild card in this situation where likely all this stuff being pushed right now with the school shooting, which is also a whole nother bag of worms, questionable things, a lot of us think that was the big push for gun control, that Johnny stopped. He thwarted it. That they were going to have a bunch of dead cops, and it was like going to scare everyone, like, oh my God, dead cops, we got to ban guns. But Johnny didn't let them do that. He ran out and was the wild card and stopped that false flag. We don't know that for sure, but it was very questionable. There was a lot of weird pieces of that, and a lot of us, we didn't even believe that he picked up the AR-15. We were like, show us the video. And so after about 3 months, we showed up at the DA's office because they still hadn't released anything. It was like, what are you waiting for? Like, it's cut and dry. It was literally like, yep, the officer had to have wrote a report. Yep, I walked up and I shot him. It's like, what are you guys investigating? Like, you already have everything. Why do you need to hide it that long? And so we did a Justice for Johnny rally in September, and that really, you know, we weren't trying to like start anything. We weren't trying to like bring ARs to the freaking, to the DA's office or anything crazy. You know, we're just trying to like, just give us the truth. That's all we were asking. Just show us the videos. You know, you're hiding it. You're withholding the evidence. And so it took another 2 months, and they still hadn't released it. So we did another Justice for Johnny rally, and that was more of like a ceremony, honestly. I was in Mexico, and that was led by Burnt MD, who's an awesome friend of ours, and Corey, and others, many others. But they've helped start a group called, it's a foundation, the Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation, and it's still kind of just starting. There's a website called heroically.com, or is it .org? .org.com, either of them. But yeah, you can find out more on that. But yeah, we're building this foundation because we want to keep Johnny's legacy alive, and it's likely, we don't exactly know, I can't speak for the family, but there is a current lawsuit going on right now because, of course, there is a wrongful death suit, and my lawyer, Gary Fielder, told me that there's at minimum a tort for $50,000. Of course, this one's going to be way more than $50,000. But Arvada is going to have to come out of pocket. So they haven't admitted any guilt. They haven't like said sorry because it's an ongoing court case. But there's going to be a humongous settlement, I would say, or a huge case And then we want to be able to have a foundation that keeps Johnny's legacy alive with different, Second Amendment trainings, for conceal and carry, or not, maybe not even just conceal and carry, but maybe teach people how to use long guns and teach people how to use their Second Amendment rights, because we have the rights, and those are inalienable rights that can't be taken from us. And so, I just want to make sure that we all, in these times after this school shooting right now, it's come up very much. What we thought was going to be last year was the push to have gun control, and there's a whole bunch of different ways to look at this all, and and some people want to say like, oh, well, he manifested that, and I would go to say that it would be maybe that, but I also think that Johnny had instincts that he knew that was going to be a call to action in his life, and that he would need to be there to protect his community. And just this weird irony that Johnny Hurley runs out protecting the cop that shot him. So had Johnny not been there to shoot that guy that shot Johnny might have gotten shot that day. And so it's just this weird irony how like Johnny and I went out to some police brutality protests years ago with mirrors. And we would hold the mirrors to those cops in their riot gear, and just show them like, look at who you are, and try to like just show them with the mirrors. And like, so we did a whole bunch of different activism together over the years, and hiked a bunch of mountains together and cooked a bunch of meals on the campfire together. Johnny was like the best chef ever, and he was just such a cool guy to go out, and we went rafting quite a few summers in a row with our friend Dan, and we'd always just have great chats at the fire and go shooting and different things. And so I just want everyone to really take away tonight, because I could go on and on about all the stories we have together, and I feel free to come and talk to me, but I just want to make sure that we really take away that spirit of being the change and being a protector and standing up when it's time. Because you might see somebody beating up on somebody, but go like, oops, it's not my problem, and like, if that's not your thing and you're not going to jump in, that's okay. Like, I want you to feel okay, like you don't have to, but I just want everyone to feel, if you feel inspired from what Johnny did that day, I want you to take that inspiration home with you, and on any level, whether that means that you're going to strap up and get your conceal and carry, or whether that means that like, you see a guy beating on a lady and you're going to go and stop it, or whatever that means for you. Anything. It's just to be on the right side of history. If we're getting locked down, that you're going to like post something online, that you're not going to care what people think, and you're going to call this out. You're going to call this whole bogus push for vaccines and stuff. He was calling it out from the beginning, like hardcore. Like one of his ideas that he made me like hide my phone at one point. And I was like, oh God, Johnny, what are you going to say? Like, oh my goodness. And he's like, yeah, he was working at the commissary. I actually haven't told the story publicly, and I'm being filmed. I'm like, how do I feel about this? But no, it's great. No, it's good. Because I think we need to go there. We need to have people who are willing to like be the change. And he was saying, look, we have a health inspector coming around messing us at the kitchen about wearing our mask and doing all these compliance things and blah blah blah. And he walked out and he followed the health inspector and he watched them get in their car and he just noted it, but he didn't do anything. But he came to talk to me and a friend about it, and he said, I just was thinking, and like, what if we like tar and feathered one of these health inspectors? It's like, whoa, holy moly. That would make some headlines, because there hasn't been a good tar and feathering in like a while. I had to look it up, and I had to like go through the history of tar and feathering going way back to the 1700s. And so Johnny was a history buff. He knew his stuff, and he read up on these things. He didn't just spout off some things he read on a YouTube comment or something. He would back things up and verify it, and he was looking for real deal action and looking for people who were like-minded in a sense of like ride or die. And he really showed that day that he was in for liberty. He was a walk about it, not just a talk about it guy. He would run there literally to save the day. And so I just really want everyone to take that courage that he had, because it's not easy to hear gunfire and to run at it. Like truthfully myself, I hear gunfire, like I was in Mexico and there was some gunfire at one point and I ducked. And I tell the story as like, even if I had 2 Uzis or 2 AKs or something, it was not my business. It was some mafia stuff, and I was like, ah. And so like to have Johnny, it's not his business. He could have easily just hidden that Army surplus store and just sat there and waited it out and been like, not my problem. But he was a man of righteousness and a man of courage, and so he stood up and just sprinted out there. And I just want us to all to take home with us that courage, that ability to stand up and say something, even if it's not a popular thing to say. to stand up and act, even if it's not a popular action, and to be in our truth and be in alignment with our highest vibration. And that's what his highest vibration was, to be a protector. And he was there, and he stood up, and he did it. Like, he did what everyone talks about, like, oh yeah, I'd do it. You know, Johnny at one point had spoke that, like, if he saw a cop killing somebody, that he would shoot that cop because it was self-defense. And he was very much a firm supporter of the right to protect yourself. And so it's like, you know, it's not violence if you're doing self-defense. And so he's very much a non-aggression principle guy, but a very much a Second Amendment self-defense guy. And so I want to teach everyone, how's it going, man? I want to teach everyone something that Johnny brought to us at We Are Change Colorado, and that y'all can do it with me, is like, you throw up the peace sign because we come in peace, but you also bring one down. So that's 2 up and that's 1 down, because we come in peace, but we reserve the right to self-defense, and we will protect our community. And so I really just want to say that that's like that's my thesis right there, is 2 up, 1 down, and respect to Johnny Hurley for being there and doing the right thing and inspiring us to be the change and do the right things in our lives, because it is the most important thing that we have, is our honor and our word and our integrity, and to live on the right side of history and to not hold regrets. If, like, we see somebody getting whooped up and we're not going to do it, you know, we're going to regret that the rest of our life. And so I really want you all to walk away with that. I could go on and on. I feel like I ran. How'd I do? Did I do like 30 minutes? I don't know. I could go on forever. All right. I'd like to just offer some Q&A, because I got interviewed on World Alternative Media by Josh Segerson, who was a friend of Johnny and I's that we met down at Acapulco. Johnny did a whole bunch of interviews with people like Max Egan and Jeffrey Smith and a whole bunch of people, and that was on his Steemit profile. So you can still find Johnny Hurley's Steemit profile at Johnny Verbal on Steemit, and you can see his writings. And you can, the videos, unfortunately, were hosted by DTube, and so those videos aren't there anymore, which kind of sucks. I wish we had those videos. But yeah, definitely look into Johnny's work. His writing's really potent, and he was very much very creative. And you know, one of these guys where at our We Are Change open mic nights, he used to bring the looping station, and he would loop. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these looping stations, but you're like, and he'd hit a button, and then it would just keep going, and then he'd do the next thing. So he'd build the beat himself, and I watched him do that of the Dead Prez song, Hip Hop. You know, and I re-listened to that song as I was driving here tonight, because I remember Johnny was living in Cap Hill right here, right on 14th and Logan, and we'd always meet at Johnny's lot and go to the rallies, whether the March Against Monsanto or whatever it was. We'd always go to those rallies from his lot, and he'd hit that loop station, and then he'd get the beat fully going, and then he'd rap those hip hop lyrics, and you know, would you rather have a Lexus, a Justice, a Dream, or some substance? He'd hit that. He'd hit those bars, and he'd rap it too. So I just want to remember him for just being such a creative man and such a brave human. And you know, those last open mics that Johnny came to, though, he didn't bring the looper station. He'd talk about the Second Amendment. He'd talk about abortion. And he'd be around a bunch of people like who weren't down with what he was saying, and he would just ruffle feathers in a crowd of like a bunch of people who want to have abortion rights. He'd be like, no, this is killing a baby. And he'd be like, what? And he'd blow some people's minds, and like, you know, and have some really unpopular opinions. And so I just really loved his spirit, where he was able to say those tough things. And in his last years, he was not trying to be all just like, let's all just awaken people. No, he was like we are, if you're not on board, like, let's go. Let's ride with the people who get this. And he was a member of Liberty on the Rocks, and I think he came and spoke a couple times here at Liberty on the Rocks. And so, you know, he pollinated everywhere, whether it was, you know, coming down to Acapulco and doing those interviews or whatnot. You know, he was always on the pulse, always on, you know, Facebook. If somebody posted something that wasn't in alignment with natural law or wasn't in alignment with, you know, the truth, he would be on the comment section. He'd be he'd kind of be a little bit of a troll and making sure that people, he'd be like, no, that's not true. And then he'd, oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, he was a huge troll, yeah. He would make sure to like, no, he'd go to tango with those people, but he'd still want to be friends with them. And there were several people who like maybe didn't have the best ending with him because they were like, man, did he not like me? And it's like, I'm sure he still liked you. He just like couldn't put up with stuff. He'd block somebody. If they posted enough QAnon crap, he would block you. He'd be like, dude, I don't want to hear your crap. Like, you know, 5 years ago, we were all like, the left and the right are corrupt, and all of a sudden everybody got sucked into this like, well, but like, we'll just vote for the guy because it's better than her. And it's like, but didn't you guys get the memo that it's an oligarchy and that we're not going to win in playing their game? But a lot of our people got sucked into that. And Johnny would just call that stuff out real hardcore. And, I just loved his spirit. I love that man. I just want to give thanks to Johnny, a.k.a. Johnny Verbal. What a huge, amazing inspiration for me. I feel like I can give him my credit for teaching me how to lead a group over these years and be a leader and be a better man and just be inspiring to other people around me. And so I give him lots of props for what we did together. And, we hosted this event called the Community Share Fest together for 7 years. And this year was our 8th year, and he wasn't there. And it was kind of hard to do the event without him, It just felt weird, but we carried on the legacy. This event we do every January is called Community Share Fest, where we throw a big party with a bunch of different styles of music, and we encompass everything into one night, and it's a clothing drive where we give away warm clothes, hats, gloves, sleeping bags, everything. And then on the following Sunday, we always go give away all the clothes. And so there's a video. I think if you check out the documentary about Johnny, there's a couple clips from that Community Share Fest Action Day where Johnny's just talking about, giving people the clothes. It's just really moving to hear some of his words after death, and those words will live on, and I just hope that lives on, and that spirit of Johnny Hurley lives on with all of you. He's here with us today. I could feel him in the room. His big smile would open up just all of our cheeky smiles. Like he could light up a room and making everybody laugh, and just like being charismatic and holding down a bond with each person. And I feel that presence that you're all giving me tonight, and I give thanks for that presence and for all of you for deciding to come out here tonight, because like I said at the beginning, this is not like an easy one for us all to go through. But I think as we traverse this crazy times in these crazy universe, I think that it empowers us to be stronger in our truth and our foundation of what we're here for and our purpose. And so I'm just riffing. I didn't plan any of this speech. I go from the cuff. And if you want to check out my interview with World Alternative Media, Josh Segerson, that's a great one. We can post that one on the Liberty on the Rocks Telegram channel. I think it's a great one to, because Josh asked a lot of questions, and I'm not just monologuing in the interview. But yeah, this has been a great opportunity for me to talk about something that's maybe not so easy to talk about, as a practice for all of us to maybe learn how to talk about those things that aren't easy to talk about, and learn, communicating. And that's one thing I'm learning in relationship, is just like sometimes those hard things to talk about can be like hidden, but they always come back up in a tidal wave. And so it's better to just like let off that pot and stop kettling it, and to let out your emotions and to truly communicate with where you're at. And it doesn't have to get to that point of like explosive emotions. We can have a conversation with each other, and we can grow. And even if we don't agree on said topic or said politician or whatnot, we agree on a whole lot more than we disagree on. And so let's work together. Let's build together. I see so many beautiful people in this room, and I look forward to building with all of you. I like to throw music events that matter, and conscious events that help inspire us all. And so Rob shouted it out. I'd love for you all to join us at the We Are Change Colorado open mic. Lindsay couldn't make it, but she sends her love. It's on 29th and Kipling and Wheat Ridge, and it's at the Corner House. And you can't miss it. And it's every last Friday of the month. We're still carrying on the We Are Change open mic. This will be our 7th or 8th year of these We Are Change open mics. And it's, Rob mentioned, 15 years of We Are Change Colorado activism. And so I just offer to all of you that We Are Change Colorado has always been an open door. If anybody wants to help lead We Are Change Colorado, we're waiting for you. If anybody has ideas, we're waiting for you. We got 5,000 people on our Facebook, 1,000 people on our YouTube channel, 1,000 people on Hive, 1,000 people on a couple of other platforms. So, let's all co-create the reality we want to see, and work together and build together, and let's figure out where we agree and where we disagree, and then let's work towards what we want to see and be proactive and not reactive. And so that's my speech. 2 up, 1 down, y'all. To Johnny Hurley, to respect our brother who put his life on the line for a stranger. I want y'all to throw up the 2 up, 1 down with me, please. Let's end it on a couple breaths together and just hold gratitude in our heart for the man that left this planet, our brother Johnny Hurley, y'all. Let's take a couple breaths together. Let's breathe in on this one and let a sound out as we breathe out. Thank you all so much. So we're going to bring around a microphone, and we're going to do some Q&A. And then I'm going to jam out of here because there's a free concert with Fela Kuti. Fela Kuti's son, Femi Kuti from Nigeria, is playing at Levitt Pavilion. So I said I would do this. I love to double dip, though. So I'm going to catch up with all of you briefly on this Q&A, and then I'm going to jam out, and anybody who wants to hop in, jump in. We're going to start with this gentleman in the back, and then if anybody wants to go next, I see a lot of fingers popping up, so let's get everybody's questions answered. I really appreciate everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hey, thanks for coming out and telling about Johnny's life, and so we can kind of get a better picture of who he is, because I didn't know anything about him when it first happened. I thought it was like, what an awful thing that happened. It seems like an honest mistake, and then days go by, a week go by, a couple of weeks go by, and then you just get furious with the release of information. And I think what I heard you say was that the body cam footage was not officially released of when it happened, because I tried to find it a few weeks ago, and I actually thought that I had seen it before, but it wasn't anywhere to be found.
So Ford Fisher News to Share on YouTube is his YouTube channel to check out. He did actually do a records request and did get some of the body cam footage, but the exact moment and the moments after were edited.
So the Arvada Police Department is currently not required to have body cams. So the police officers who were there were not wearing any body cams. It was responding officers who showed up. We've seen two main body cam footages from that, and one of them looks to be cropped, and that happens to be the officer who recovered the rifle from Johnny, and for a split second you do actually see that the magazine is out of that rifle. Arvada has said that their badge cams are due by July of 2023, and their goal is to have them done on all of their uniformed officers by this July.
But the official statement is that the officer who killed
Was not wearing a badge.
Yeah, none of the Arvada officers. It was the responding Denver PD that showed up.
It was their badge cams that we saw.
One, two, got a couple of questions. Please, everybody ask your questions. Seriously, this is the time.
Thank you. Johnny Hurley is the kind of man I dream of being myself.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. Yet I'm going to ruffle feathers with my questions.
Good.
And that's
He would too.
Yeah, that's what he wanted, and I agree. So is it fair to say that the cop who shot Johnny and killed him, he was following protocol? And so we can't really blame the cop. We got to blame, the Arvada police force and their training and,
There is that where they don't have to make a command. And so that's one of the pieces that the Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation has talked about working on and changing, because it's just not right. But yes, that is protocol too. Right. They don't have to announce.
Right. And because, you mentioned about, doing the honorable thing and facing somebody up front. No, if there's somebody committing mass murder and I have a weapon, I'm not going to go up to him, tap him on the shoulder so he could turn around and know we could be face to face, and then I'll try to shoot him before he shoots me. No, I'll shoot him in the back of the head if I can, and that makes sense to me. So what the cop did, to me doesn't sound right, because
But he was like this, He wasn't grimacing. It's like you shoot somebody if they're pointing at you. You shoot somebody if he turns around with a gun. You shoot somebody, but you don't just shoot somebody in the back.
Well, I think what the cop thought was, and thought correctly, there's a shooter and he's killing people.
Yeah, but that cop saw the other guy and he ID'd the other shooter with wearing all black, with a long gun, with boots, with a hat.
Right, but he thought there might be another shooter.
Could have been a second shooter.
Right. Okay.
It's okay. One more question. It's okay. Hit it. I like it.
Yeah.
But
because I'm the only one who's going to ruffle feathers.
No, it's good. It's good.
Everybody else is going to suck.
No, hit it.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned that Johnny was doing the right thing by taking the guy's weapon and unloading it or something. I have concealed carry license. I got training. I was also trained in the military in that regard. I never received that kind of training where you grab the person's weapon, you kick it away to make sure that he can't get it, in case he's not really dead. But yeah, you don't pick it up, and
we talked to his conceal and carry officer, or his conceal and carry instructor, and he said that that's what they're trained. And so we were all just so sad to hear that. I mean, it's like, really, they train them? So maybe there is something that we can work on like active shooter situations and what to do in those situations. Because, you know, I kind of thought to myself, like, well, what's a man supposed to do? Like, is he just supposed to, like lay on the ground and just play dead or something? Like, you know, it's just like, I get it, the kicking, but it's also just like, if that's what he was trained to do, he did what he was trained to do. And, you know, who would have thought that, you know, somebody's going to just mistake this shooter and shoot him in the back. So, I mean, I appreciate you on like being questioning things, but yeah, I mean, it's really one of those tough things. It's like, it was a second by second thing. And that's why we understand that, you know, it's, none of us were calling for like, oh, we should hang this guy, or we should go, you know, get this guy, or he deserves a death penalty, but he definitely should have got a slap on the wrist, or he shouldn't, you know, he shouldn't have gotten honorable, like, you know, way to like leave the force. He should have been fired. He should, you know, we can't just keep letting these cops shoot people, because that's the cause of why that cop got murdered that day. Was because these cops are continually roughing up people, shooting people, and so we wonder why people are mad at them. Well, no, it's a cause and effect thing, and so we've got to address the cause, and that's that these cops are trigger happy and they need better training, and we can't. They're literally hiring people without big IQs on purpose because they need dumb, you know, like moldable minds, and so, you know, it's a tragedy, and I just think that we do need more, you know, voluntary solutions. We need more of us armed to protect, because we see, you know, they don't talk about it much, but those cops outside that school recently just sat there for like an hour and a half, and it's like some other crazy cop just runs in and they let him like run in and save his own kids and stuff, and it's like, what is going on there? Where like, these cops need to do their jobs, and if their jobs aren't to serve and protect them, we need to really check them, because the fire department doesn't drive around looking for fires, and ambulances don't drive around looking for hurt people. They respond to the call, and I think that's where police need to get to, and I think that's where the government needs to get to, is like is bare bones of what they're supposed to be doing there, and government has expanded their reach, and the police have expanded their reach, and that's where we really need to talk about what to do next. So thank you for joining, and thank you for saying something that was a little critical. So.
Hi. Just to follow up a little bit on his point, I'm combat veteran paratrooper. I was in Grenada under fire, and I do not agree with that instructor about picking up the other person's weapon. If you're in an active situation, cops are coming in, they don't know what the fuck is going on, they don't know who's the bad guy. Johnny was a stud to do what he did. He was amazing to run to the sounds of the gun, take the guy out, but at that point he should have stopped. I wish he would have stopped, because when I first heard this story a year ago, I was like, God, that is the most foobar thing. The good guy with the gun taking out the bad guy gets taken out by the cops. And I didn't realize it at the time that he was trying to pick up and clear the other guy's weapon. No. I hope none of you ever have to face that kind of situation. If you do not do such a thing. Wow. Do not.
Well, we obviously learned that the hard way.
The cops are going to show up. They're not going to know who the fuck is good or bad. Either conceal your weapon or put it on the ground, step back. If the target is down, if the bad guy is down and out of action, you've done your job, you've accomplished your mission, you know. Yeah.
It's already happened.
He also had no idea the police were there.
Yeah, I know. In the heat of the moment, I understand that he didn't know what else, but still.
So you mentioned the settlement money going toward his memory and the First Amendment training and I'm sorry, Second Amendment, obviously. But I'm curious, would you be interested in like voluntary donations going toward that as well? And if so, can I help you and can I give you my card?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
So the Friends of Johnny Hurley is like a separate thing. Like we have no idea what the family is going to do. Like that's totally up to Johnny's mom. It sounds like is the one that's going to be representing in this case. And so she had, last time I talked to her, wanted to do something to fund like the forests and didn't want to get involved in anything political or anything about guns. So I have no idea what they're going to actually do. We just wanted to create a container so that people like yourself could step in and do voluntary donations. And if we do, you know, if there's a bunch of money that ends up in, you know, the name of Johnny Hurley, then hopefully it goes to keep his name alive in whatever way that is. And so that's what Burnham D and Corey and Elias Clay and others have helped us step up and be a part of the Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation. And that was one of my first ideas actually, was to create an award for people who are protectors. So that way we send, you know, you know, if the media is not going to make these people heroes. There was recently a shooting that a woman took down a shooter, and it barely got any headlines, but it did get out there, and it's like she should get an award. She should get what I like to call the Hero Hurley Award. Now we're still working all this out, but I really would like to see someone awarded a cash prize for saving their community in the face of danger. And that to me is a voluntary solution to where we glorify these other people, and we can even like, you know, honestly, Johnny would have been a celebrity. Johnny would have, like, his whole life would have changed. I had this vision, and it's fucking awful to say, but it's like, I totally see that Johnny would have been like, okay, now it's time to have my family. Now it's time to like root down. But like, he was, you know, it was just that moment of like, he would have been on Good Morning America. He would have like been teaching people about this. He would have been a hero, and he would have just been in his fullest, and I can just see it, and then that was stolen from him. And so I do want to just keep this vision alive. I don't exactly know, but yeah, please, let's connect in that way. Anybody who wants to make a donation to the Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation can do that. I donated all the profits from the Community Share Fest to the Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation, and there was also a fundraiser that we donated all the money from We Are Change Colorado to the Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation. So there's a few $1,000 in the kitty right now, and we've printed a whole bunch of stickers. So let me shout those stickers out. Please take a bunch of stickers. There's like thousands of stickers, and we can print more. So just take some stickers, stick them on things, give them out to people, put them on your water bottle, whatever you want to do. Make sure to rock those. And then while I'm shouting it out, Johnny made these shirts. These come from Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar. The No Masters, No Slave shirts. So Johnny actually printed these shirts years ago, and then so we recreated the design and reprinted the shirts. But he printed up about 100 of these shirts down at for Anarchapulco and sold out like this. And that was back in 2018. And so we have a few of these shirts, not here presently, but we could take orders. And we were talking to Josh about like getting them online and starting to like, you know, maybe, you know, obviously some of the money will go to the Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation, and we'll figure out all that. But just stay in touch with us. Make sure to plug in with the We Are Change Colorado crew, you know, me and Rob and Corey and everybody, and just make sure to network, because that's really what We Are Change has always been about, is to have that buddy system, to have that like person you can lean on, a person you can talk about these hard topics to talk about with, and just to have somebody to be there and like have a hiking buddy and have a camping buddy that like gets these things, so we're not like being fake trying to like hang out with people who really don't get it, and we're like, yeah, these people don't get it, like, you know, like we want to hang out with people who get it. And thank you all so much for coming out to Liberty on the Rocks, because you obviously get it. And so we're going to take a couple more questions, but while I'm in my shout out mode, I really want to ask all of you if you can make it out on Tuesday. That would be the 1 year anniversary. That's June 21st, this Tuesday. If you could make it out, I'd really love the support of this community to show up and to be there to do a moment of silence at 1:37 when Johnny went down. And then we might even get a PA, and there's a couple of artists who've made songs in dedication to Johnny. I know Burnt MD's got one, Elias Clay's got one, and Sammer Rhymes has one. And there's a lot of amazing artists who are honoring Johnny in their music. And so we'll probably have some of them perform or at least speak. And I would love for all of you to be out there, and we'll probably catch a meal after and all go together. And so please join us. That's in Old Town Arvada, and that is June 21st, this Tuesday. We're going to start gathering about 1 o'clock, and then we'll have a moment of silence at 1:37, and then we'll do some talking. And I don't exactly know what we're doing, honestly. It's just it's a free-form thing, but like, please come and support us and just be there, and let's all just continue to like build with our kindred that we have here, our family. And I see you all as kin. If you love liberty, you're in the right spot. And so thank you all. And let's take a couple more questions. I saw a couple more people raising their hands. Anybody else?
You know, it's more of a statement, and it's like, thank you.
Thanks for naming that.
It's more of a statement, and it's more of a gratitude for you, the organization, and the people that you've been putting together for the years. I was early at We Are Change, and you asked me to get off the stage because I kind of compromised the microphone. Remember that, Bruce? And
actually, don't. There's been far too many.
Yes, but you know, Aaron, Rob, you, all of everybody that's getting together for liberty. We fought for liberty, and we were spilling blood for liberty. I was asked the other day after I did my video, and the guy said, he says, you know, you were on the verge of really getting hurt badly. He says, is it worth dying for? And is it not worth dying for? I mean, when the person that is protecting the protectors dies, is it not worth dying for? You know? And if is it not worth instructing, is it not worth putting your body on the line? I mean, a bunch of dumb Aurora cops that kill a mentally retarded guy because he doesn't want to be identified were standing around my car wanting to crash into my windows and drag me out. Then all of a sudden, you know, I could have become a new incentivized blue-pilled felon, right? And we know that they do that. And anytime that anybody says officer safety, and you'll hear me say officer safety over and over and over again because it's just pure cowardice. You know, if you have everything going in your direction and you still run around and you stay outside for an hour, a baby's being murdered. When they did that in Columbine, and they did that down in Texas, and they did it at Virginia Tech, and they did it at Sandy Hook, and they did it then, and they're doing it today. So, officer safety is cowardice. What Johnny showed is heroism. You know. So, you don't. It doesn't take. It just takes a little bit of a ball to be a little bit of a hero, and nobody can step in and be Johnny because you can't do that. But you can be you.
That's right.
And so. Thank you, guys.
Yo, thank you, Rodney. I appreciate that. And you're right. And that's right. We can't be Johnny, but we can be ourselves. And so I just call you to be yourself. This guy's got one up here, but it looks like we got another one back there. Let's do a couple more. 2 more, 3 more, whatever's clever. Thank you all so much once again. I want to rock that quote, give me liberty or give me death. Give me liberty, baby. That's right, baby.
Well, I just want to say that it's important to get the message out there that cops are equal opportunity killers. It's not just black people that they kill. It's, you know, you see in the media all the black people that kill them, but they kill white people too.
Kill more, actually.
Yeah, probably.
And there's more white people. So yeah, statistically, they do kill more white people. Hey, this guy up here's got one.
Did he have a wife or children? Or children?
Nope, he did not have a wife or children, no. He was 40 years old. Yep.
All right, that's our talk. Give it up for Bruce.
Hey, thank you so much, everybody, and thank you to Josh and Kira for holding down Liberty on the Rocks for so many years. I haven't been since you guys were at Choppers, and so thanks to the Independence Institute for hosting us, and let's make sure to tip and grab all those White Rose stickers over there. Literally, there's plenty more to come, so literally just grab a bunch of them, stick them on everything, and let's all just make sure that we plug in. You can find our website, wearechangecolorado.com, YouTube channel, WACCTV, at WeAreChangeCO on Hive, a whole bunch of just awesome content over the years. Interviews. We got a Telegram channel you can check in with. We'll make sure to, if you're not already on the Liberty on the Rocks Telegram, get on there, and then that's where you can you'll see the tab for the We Are Change Colorado Telegram on there. And let's all just continue to build, and let's hopefully bring people out for the We Are Change open mic on June 24th. We got Mike Word playing some hip hop for us. It's going to be really legendary in the backyard like that. And I just look forward to seeing where we can interweave and continue to fight for freedom, to fight for liberty, and to create the world that we want to see, and not just be reactive, but let's be proactive and let's get ahead of this. So thank you so much to everybody for being so present with me tonight. Come and talk to me after this, and let's all just continue to build. Thank you so much, Josh and Kara.